Welcome back, YouTube. My name's Zeegers, and today we're going to go over the top 5 meta guns for Season Ignition in Arena Breakout Infinite for PC. So with any top gun list, there will always be variables of what style of gameplay you enjoy versus what gun matches that style. Regardless, I'm going to break down what I believe to be as the top 5 most sought after meta guns given a variety of playstyles one may enjoy. And at the end of the video, I'll also include some honorable mentions. Bear in mind, there's always some wiggle room in most guns to shave off a bit of performance to save a few bucks. Be sure to play around with the options and be sure to check out the contacts for barters, as there are a couple associated to this video which will save you some additional coin. With the launch of Season Ignition, the ABI devs originally adjusted the parallax on nearly every gun in the game. What the parallax controls is the sway and bob of the gun while you are changing direction, whether it be side to side or forward and backward. When the season first launched, the parallax adjustment was really noticeable, even with a red dot. But the recent patch this week, they've reverted those said changes. So if something feels off versus a previous season, it may just be remnants of the parallax adjustment. Who knows if we will see future adjustments, but something to be aware of if a gun feels off. Gun 1, the AK-12. This is the gun that I've been blasting with since I had the opportunity to mess around with it in the closed beta. This gun is an absolute laser, and it is by far my favorite gun of the season. The ammo cost has been increasing slightly as the days go on in the season, so give it a rip and try it out sooner than later. There's a few ways that you can build this, but I'll show you the baseline to what I've been using, and you can make some adjustments from there. This gun utilizes the 5.45 by 3.9 round, and although isn't as strong of a punch as other ammo types, does do some decent damage to armor, and I've put down full tier 6 with ease, even with the T4 BP rounds. I do recommend top-loading BS rounds for the bigger punch, especially for the forbidden raids. I recommend when fighting long range, say 70 meters and above, to burst fire 5 to 7 rounds while pulling down slightly for recoil control. I found that if you mag dump past 10 bullets at long range, it can get pretty messy, but do what's right for the situation. For me, the included code is a breakdown of what I use on a daily basis. However, there are some opportunities to change the following pieces: muzzle, front grip, pistol grip, the scope, or the stock. I will mention that these are typically the areas on most guns that will have the largest impact on price for any gun. The muzzle for the AK-12 only has 2 options: the muzzle brake or the silencer. If you want to be more incognito, try the suppressor. However, you lose quite a bit of recoil control for the trade-off. The front grip. I like the triangular grip. For the price point to performance, it's the best option, but some are die-hard lovers of the tilt grip. Play around with this and see what you enjoy. Pistol grip. I enjoy the AK-IND. There are some cheaper options, but I really enjoy the assault rifles when they have high ergo, as I normally frontline push and I want that quick response on my ADS. The scope. For me, I enjoy using the SVDS, also known as Red Dot. I play TV Station quite a bit, and I honestly think it pairs really well with that map. With that said, you could look at the 1.4 or something along those lines if you wanted to try that out. Bear in mind though, the effective range is 55. Effective range is important for the damage output of the ammo, and this is also an important consideration for any gun that you're going to try in ABI. The stock. Thankfully, compared to some other guns, this one is fairly straightforward. I think for the cost and ability to fold the stock, making the gun a 2x3 is a great option, especially when you have to be packed up from your teammates. Overall, I think the AK-12 is by far the best gun added this season, and I've been having so much fun with it. For me, it will replace the AEK as my main gun. The cost for the AK-12 time of this video was roughly 220k. However, this was fluctuating about an additional 100k depending on the time of day or day of the week. Very important tip to keep in mind is there is a Joel Garrison barter that has 2 charges and has been selling the AK-12s for around 70k depending on the time of day, with around a 48-hour cooldown. Be sure to check all contacts for special deals on gear and guns. Gun 2. The AEK. This was my go-to gun in previous seasons as it's an absolute monster. The original parallax changes in Season Ignition launch made it a bit jumpy on the first 8 shots. That's been since reverted, which made me bring this back into the top 5. The AEK utilizes a 7.62 by 39 caliber ammo, has a good rate of fire, and does amazing damage to armor with AP rounds. Not as popular this season, making the ammo and gun costs come down makes it a great choice. It also has a foldable stock option, and if you pair that with removing the magazine, turns the gun into a 1x4, making it an easy gun to pack up as well. Main variables to this build will be the muzzle, grip, scope, and stock. Typically looking at either suppressor or not for the muzzle, triangular or tilt grip, red dot or perhaps the 1x4 scope. Magazine, you could look at the windowed 30 mag, but honestly I think the 50 drum is the way to go with a half top load. And lastly, the stock. You can go with the foldable for ease of packing, or something like the collapsible for cheaper alternative, or go full Bougie with an AEK adapter, some sort of AR tube with the carbine industrial stock, and carbine pad. However, comparing that version with the foldable stock, you're looking at roughly 140k difference in price. Cost of this particular AEK build at the time of this video was around 300k. Gun 3. It wouldn't be a top list without mentioning the H416. Also known as the HK. This gun runs the 5.56 by 45 caliber ammo. This gun is incredibly strong, even with the effective range nerfs that happened in the launch of Season Ignition. It's still the go-to option for those who are utilizing thermals, because instead of a red dot, you can just put a compact top on and mag dump A1s from a distance. There's a handful of ways that this can be built. The variables to the options come along in the muzzle, front grip, barrel length, scope, magazine, pistol grip, and stock. Won't go into a crazy amount of detail about each attachment, but I kind of use a higher end bougie build when I do run the HK. The key note here would be the barrel. Depending on the barrel chosen, it drastically changes the effective range, and because of this, most go for the long barrel on the HK. I also enjoy having a large magazine in this gun, as I'm typically in the thick of it and tend to run a half mag top load of 995 with the bottoms being A1. Save the most money by adjusting the stock option to something more simplistic, say the collapsible lightweight stock instead. Regardless of some of the adjustments, the HK is just a beast in terms of ergo, recoil, strength, and rate of fire, which was buffed a value of 50 in the Season Ignition. Most changes on any of the variables will feel comfortable, but again, bear in mind the barrel length choice. HK was running a cost value around 533k with this build at the time of the video. Gun 4. The SVTU. This gun utilizes a 762 by 54 caliber ammo. This is the same caliber that the Mosin uses. However, this gun is semi-automatic, making it an absolute demon if played right. Overall, this gun doesn't have many options, which makes it a fairly straightforward showcase. The variables are the muzzle, scope, and magazine size. If you're wanting to sit back more, the 5-round mag is more than enough. If you want to get more active with a red dot, then use the 10. Muzzle is a bit of a personal preference, but I prefer the AR-10 muzzle flash suppressor. The largest changeable option is the scope. I think the best options are the 1x6, 2x7, or the red dot depending on what kind of approach you want to take. Although the gun is semi-automatic, it does have quite a bit of kick to the mag dump, so you'll have to play that accordingly. Most of the cost here will be the run rate of ammo, as at the time of this video the gun costed around 87k to make, and the ammo ranged anywhere from 4k to around 17k per round. Gun 5. The Golden Child, the M110. This gun has been absolute bonkers since day one and has been the strongest option for the M61 ammo, with the exception of the early days when the FAL reigned king until the recoil was gutted. The M110 is criminally good for the price. The build I wanted to showcase was nearly a base build to the M110. It doesn't require much to be incredibly powerful. Like most of the other guns, the variables here will come in the muzzle, front grip, scope, pistol grip, and stock. I'd recommend playing around with what suits your playstyle best, as this can be a great option with a red dot up close or something a bit more laid back with the 2.7 or 1x6 scope option. You can choose a suppressor if you'd like, or perhaps a tilt grip versus the triangular option showed in this build. Magazine size depends on the situation you want to be dealt with. I was a fan of running the 10 mag with M61s if I ran this base build. I've decided to include a second build here as well if you wanted to try something a little bit more on the top end side. Bear in mind, the cost of M61 has skyrocketed as of late, so although the gun doesn't cost that much and is fairly a cheap build, the burn rate cost can be quite a bit higher than other guns, especially if you lack the accuracy on your shots. If you have great aim, this is a deadly option for most. Cost of the cheap build option was around 100k at the time of this video, and the cost of the more expensive option I showcased was roughly around 312k.
But wait, there's more. Hang on to your seat, baby, cause this one's a screamer.
Bonus option, the 5.7 pistol. Now I know that this isn't a super meta gun, but I wanted to throw a little wild card into the video and showcase a pistol because I truly think it's a fun gun to use, and it's the best pistol out there currently, unless you're doing leg meta, which perhaps the G18C instead. The 5.7 though, I have put down people in PvP fights up to 110 yards with a couple of shots. That couldn't have been a player. That couldn't have been a player, right? There's no way that's a player. That's not a player, right? Am I literally Jason Bourne? The 5.7 pistol utilizes the 5.7 by 28 round, and I recommend trying the 190 round out for most situations, and perhaps the 198 if you really want to pack a punch. Either way, this pistol has crazy high ergo, and it will treat you well in a pinch. For this build, I believe the muzzle and the scope are the two variables that you could play around with. Muzzle has an option to provide a decent bump in recoil and ergonomics, but I love the silencer and makes me want to toss up some 007 music and vibe out.
Name's Bond. James Bond.
The scope. For me, I went with the comp reflex. This is just a personal choice though. You have a few different options, so choose the one that best suits you, as most are in and around the same stats. The cost of the 5.7 at the time of this video was around 60k. Now I truly believe there are a lot of great guns in ABI in general, which honestly is a good problem to have, so I felt a disservice if I didn't include some of these honorable mentions. I won't go into the same detail, but I will highlight the gun name and general reason why I think it needs to be mentioned. AR-57. Again, not as strong as previous seasons due to range adjustments. It's a much cheaper assault rifle option with a strong level 5 ammo, and you can also run a leg meta caliber option as well. The SJ16. This gun is insanely strong, has one tap headshot potential on tier 6, and is an absolute demon if you hit your shots. The SVDS. This is a cheaper gun option with the introduction of some of the new bosses since they drop them, and has a strong caliber ammo. However, the recoil kick is pretty significant, so if you can get over that, it is a great alternative. The P90. This gun is insanely strong for leg meta because of the high rate of fire and damage output on the dum-dum ammo. And honestly, isn't too bad with the 7N37 if you wanted to blast chest or headshots. P90 is also a fairly cheap gun overall, making it a good budget option as well. And lastly, the USAS-12. This gun can rip the legs off of a T6 enemy in 1 to 2 well-placed shots. It can also make for some hilarious moments with your friends setting up a gank against squads. So there you have it, my top 5 metaguns for Season Ignition with honorable mentions included. Did we miss something you think should be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. Happy hunting in the world of Kimona. I'll see you on the battlefield. Until next time, take it easy.
Stair.
It might be Skybridge or something.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Oh my god!
Where's
Oh
that?
my god! Help! Up! Loading!